On Sunday morning, South Africa was shocked to learn that Bafana Bafana midfielder Jaden Adams had passed away. It's rumored that the Sundown star had taken his own life. Only a few weeks ago he was playing for his nation on the greatest stage of all, the World Cup. What would drive a man, if he intended to take his own life, to do such a thing when all seemed to be going so well? The focus of today's video is not young Jaden Adams, and I pray that God helps his loved ones through an immensely tough and sad time. I know very little of him outside of his adventures for the national team, but the passing of someone seemingly doing so well has made me wonder about suicide. Now, the Bible is full of men taking their own lives, and let's take a look at 5 of these. Abimelech, Judges 9 verse 53 to 54. Abimelech was a ruthless, self-appointed king. During a siege, a woman on a tower dropped a heavy millstone on his head, crushing his skull. Mortally wounded and desperate to avoid the immense social shame of having it said that a woman killed him, he ordered his armor-bearer to draw his sword and kill him. The motive? Avoiding humiliation and preserving his legacy of manly military pride. King Saul, 1 Samuel 31 verse 4. During a disastrous battle against the Philistines on Mount Gilboa, Israel's first king was badly wounded by an archer. Fearing the Philistines would capture, torture, and make a mockery of him, he begged his armor-bearer to kill him. When his armor-bearer refused out of sheer terror, Saul drew his own sword and fell upon it. The motive was fear of torture, capture, and dishonor. Now, please pardon if I say these names wrong. I am surely not an ancient Hebrew. Ahitophel, 2 Samuel 17 verse 23. Now, this was King David's highly esteemed counselor who betrayed the king to join his rebellious son, Absalom. During said rebellion, Ahitophel gave Absalom brilliant military advice on crushing David, but his counsel was rejected in favor of a foolish plan. Realizing the rebellion was now doomed to fail and that he would eventually be executed as a traitor, Ahitophel went home, put his house in order, and hanged himself. The motive was bitter pride, despair over the failed coup, and preempting execution. In 2 Kings 16 verse 18 we find Zimri. Now Zimri was a military commander who assassinated the king of Israel and seized the throne. But his reign lasted only a few days. When the army rebelled and proclaimed Omri as the new king, they quickly besieged Zimri's royal city. Seeing that the city was lost, Zimri retreated into the inner citadel of the palace and burned the place down around himself. The motive being to avoid capture, public execution by his political rivals. And the most famous example, Judas Iscariot, Matthew 27. The most famous suicide in the New Testament and possibly in history. After betraying Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, Judas was overcome with immense guilt and regret when he saw Jesus condemned to death. He tried to return the money to the priests, but they refused it. In utter despair, Judas threw the silver into the temple sanctuary, ran off, and hanged himself. The motive being intense guilt, remorse, and spiritual hopelessness. Now, these 5 men have one thing in common. They lost hope. Judas, probably more than any other, lost hope after realizing he had betrayed the giver of hope. The others were driven by ambition and pride. Having lost the battle to pride, they gave up and took their own lives instead of humbling themselves before God. King Saul was just a mess. This man acted like an ancient version of something that would look pretty at home on the TV show The Office. He constantly made the wrong choice and acted without thinking. Remember him trying to kill all the witches and diviners and those who call up dead people, and then attempting to call up the spirit of Samuel through one of these same people. Sadly, when faced with a seemingly insurmountable problem, these 5 men from the Bible chose to take the only escape they saw fit and end it all. I went to godquestions.blog and asked them, what does the Bible say on suicide? And it answered that while the Bible nowhere explicitly states it's a sin to commit suicide, it does speak clearly about murder in Exodus 20. Suicide is self-murder. So logically, suicide is then a sin, since murder is a sin. Aside from the do not commit murder command, suicide is also a sin for the following 2 reasons. 1, theological. One practical. It is God and God alone who has the right to determine life and death, and suicide reveals a belief that God is not powerful enough to help you solve your problems. So what to do then when all hope seems lost? Well, firstly, no matter how alone you feel, you never are. Before ascending to heaven, Christ says, "And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." Matthew 28:20. In Psalm 34:18 it reads, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He saves those who are crushed in spirit." Many times in the Psalms, King David, and throughout his history, King David seems close to giving up. Now what does he do then? He doesn't find strength in his army. He doesn't find strength in the heroes surrounding him or in his battle history. He finds his strength in God. Christ teaches that He is the way, the truth, and the life. The life. Hopelessness is a lie from the enemy that wants you dead, while life is a promise from the God that cares for you. There is always a way. You sometimes just need a different perspective to see it. Will everything always go according to plan? Of course not, but the difference between hope in Christ and hopelessness is that even when faced with failure, you can still go and achieve victory in Christ. When He hung on the cross, it seemed like an immense failure. Peter betrayed Him. Judas offed himself. Yet only a few days later, the grave was empty, and the seeming failure had turned into hope for an entire planet.